$1.8 million in profits in 3 years. Check this out.
Hi, my name is Dean. I bought a 119,000 square foot self-storage facility for $2.2 million. And 3 years later, I sold it for $3.95 million for almost a $1.8 million profit. I want to thank Peter and his team at Commercial Property Advisors.
That was our student Dean, and he's going to share with you his entire story. Sometimes all it takes is one deal, one commercial deal, to dramatically impact and change your financial life forever. Here at Commercial Property Advisors, we get the awesome opportunity to mentor people from all walks of life, from the East Coast to the West Coast, into purchasing life-changing commercial real estate. So you need to check out Dean's story. It is so fulfilling for all of us. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you how Dean was trapped in a corporate rat race. It got so bad he had to resign, and I know some of you can relate to that. Well, what he did was he jumped into commercial real estate full time, and he had no experience. But of course, he had us as his mentors, okay? And then in the interview, Dean will share with you how he found a deal that changed his life. And you'll see from the video, his life is really different now. It surely is. You got to watch the video. Then he'll share with you how he produced a $1.8 million profit in 3 years with the one property, okay? And Dean's outlook on money has changed forever. In fact, Dean's outlook has changed after his first deal. So this is his third deal with this, and where he produced the $1.8 million. And lastly, Dean will share the secret to his success, and it's really not a secret, okay? So it's available to anyone at any time, even right now. Without further ado, here is the interview with our student Dean. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. This is Peter. Thanks for joining me. I have a special guest here. This is his third time with us. His name is Dean, and you know all about him. So Dean, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Peter. Good to see you again.
All right. Thanks, Dean. Hey, Dean, we're going to jump right into it. So, Dean, first of all, maybe just share how you found the deal.
Yeah, so this building was actually right next door to one of the first properties that I purchased with you guys. And one day I just decided to go over and meet the neighbors, and walked in the door, and unbeknownst to me, the husband of one of the owners was someone I had known for 15 years. And he and I began to talk, and I told him that if any point they ever decided to sell, please, let me know. I'd be interested in talking with them. And a matter of months later, I got that telephone call. So the rest is history.
Yeah, it's all about relationships, right?
Relationships for sure.
Yep, yep. All right, so there's a picture of the your parking lot from standing afar. There's another view from a different angle. All right, a different angle. And then let's talk about the deal. So there's some deal highlights there. So 119,000 square foot building, right? And you purchased it for 2.2, right? And in the prior video, we talked about you buying it with seller financing. So it was pretty much a master lease. You put down, was it 10%? 10% down?
10% down, yes.
Okay, 10% down. And what was the interest rate?
And the interest rate was 5%.
5%, and it was a 5-year deal, right?
Actually, it was 3-year. It was a 3-year
Okay,
deal.
3
A little bit
years.
shorter window.
Okay, and you were able to get out before 3 years and make a bunch of money.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that's awesome. So the starting income was about 21,250. So the day one that you took over, it's at 21,250, and then you took over, and then at the day that you sold, you were able to increase the income to $45,000 a month. That's more than double, Dean. And so here's the question: how did you increase the rent to that level, and how long did it take, Dean? What did you do?
Yeah, so really, took a little time to digest the building in a whole as a whole. I mean, it's a 119,000 square feet. That's a lot, lot to take in. Then I began looking at the space and how it could be divided more efficiently and used. I guess the best case use, and through that, I was able to divide it and bring in honestly increased the level of tenants that we had there, and brought in a what I would say maybe an anchor tenant that signed a 5-year lease within the first,
Yeah.
I think it was the first probably 8 months, and then we um, improved the use of a couple of the larger spaces, increased the rents. In one space, I tripled the income that one of the spaces was generating. So, all in all, um, that took about 18 months, roughly,
Hmm.
from
Okay.
from the start.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And then we have, let's see, what do we have? We have, there's one of the spaces. This is your CrossFit gym. This is where you work out, right?
It is.
Yeah.
They deliver the pain to me, but it's fun. So yeah, it's a good group
That's
of
great.
people.
Yeah, that's great. And here's another picture of the gym space and how often you make it out there for.
I'm there probably 4 to 5 days a week.
Wow, wow, awesome, awesome. All right,
So,
CrossFit
yep.
maniac there. So there's yeah, the part of the building there. This is on the right hand side, I believe, one of your hallways, right? And
Yeah, this is the storage area. Mhm.
yeah, and there's an overview shot of that area, right? And all right, so there you go. All right, so just a incredible deal, Dean. So, but our audience probably wants to hear for us to start at the beginning, right? So, Dean, why did you decide to apply to be one of our proteges to our program?
Yeah, so, um, basically, I think I've mentioned this before, I had began looking for a different career path. I'd been in
Yeah.
sales and ownership position for 20 years, and I began searching online for what I knew. I was interested in commercial real estate, and I found you, Peter, and I knew that in order to make this career change, that I needed to protect myself from preventing myself from making any catastrophic errors at this stage in my career. I knew that I needed to bring on a mentor to help me make the right decisions and make sure that I didn't make any bad decisions. And as I was scanning the YouTube channels, I ran across you and all of your videos, and honestly, I ran across a number of other voices out there, but every time, uh, every time it always led back to you. I think there were a lot of details. You do a fantastic job of providing detailed information to people, and that spoke to me. Um, and you're I could tell you were a person of faith, and that you know I think that mattered to me a little bit. I knew at least it told me about the person that I was going to be working with, and the rest is it's been a fantastic experience since then.
All right. Well, I'm glad you joined us. It's been a 3-year journey so far. You have, I think that purchase was, I think, your fourth purchase. And Dean, I was looking back yesterday on the deal that you just closed on. Do you know that you and I have over 372 emails going back and forth?
I'm not surprised. It's only that many.
That's great. Got questions? Simply text the word Peter to 833-942-4516 and we'll help you. So Dean, before you joined us, what did you need help with most when getting started with us?
I think the biggest thing for me was probably identifying and qualifying deals.
Mm.
Um, on top of that, maybe understanding the different strategies there were in purchasing, and then the probably the one of the biggest things was just building confidence. For me, it was I have no clue what I really have no clue what I'm doing. I know enough to be dangerous. Am I doing the right thing? And I think a lot of our conversations probably, were around that. But those are probably the three big things for me that you guys helped me with.
Yeah. Is there anything beneficial about our program that maybe people won't think about?
For me, it was you need detailed instructions. There's a lot
Yeah.
to take in when you're evaluating deals. So, I think when you're considering, again, if you're investigating mentors out there, I think you need to take into consideration, what type of information are you going to be able to get? How often are you going to be able to personally have conversations with these folks? And and then, uh, is this the right fit for you? I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, I have to have a little bit of chemistry, and I've got to appreciate who I'm talking to. And Peter, you've always been that guy. I think we've hit it off. I knew you by the time I'd seen so many of your videos before we actually spoke on the phone. I felt like I already knew you. And so
Awesome.
for me, that comfort level when we first talked, it was like I'd already known you for years. So
Awesome. 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 Um, so, Dean, what are some of the mistakes that you think the beginning investor could make now that you've been in this for a few years now?
probably some of the same mistakes I made. um, I think when you first get in there, you're everybody's eager to, let's go get a deal,
Yeah. Yeah.
and everything looks good to you in the very beginning. But the bottom line is you really need to slow down and evaluate those deals and qualify each one in great detail. And you guys in the training that you have is set up step by step on how you go through those processes,
Yeah.
and it's extremely helpful to me. Also, um, you know, underestimating expenses and the cost
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
repairs. Another huge thing. You're gonna you're you're it's one of those things where you're probably gonna underestimate those, but you just don't want it to be something that can be extremely detrimental to your performa, basically. And then capital reserves. I think
Yeah.
uh, you need to make sure that you're putting away capital reserves to take care of those problems in the end, because you never know what might pop up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the larger the property, the more money you need, the more complicated it is, the more money you need. And so just consider that when you're evaluating properties.
You and I have had many conversations of things that popped up during these last few years on this property, in the back of the property, the sign, the roof, and yeah, you're correcting. You needed to have
Yeah,
reserves to cure those things to keep everything going. Yeah. All right.
correct.
So,
Yes.
so Dean, you have graduated from our program, and you have a trophy to show it. Right? You have a trophy handy.
Yep. Yep. I
All
got
right.
it. Got it right
There,
here. Here it is.
there you go. There you go. So you have graduated from our program. So how does it feel to make this amount of money, graduate from the program, and now to be where you are? How does that make you feel to be a graduate?
It's honestly pretty amazing. I've thought about that a lot recently. I mean, when I first started out, I said I want to get this done in 3 years, and I knew that was going to be aggressive because I'm like, we're starting from zero, and I think to you're starting from zero, and then that, hey, I've got to generate $1 million worth of profit in order to pull the lever and
Gotcha.
go, I graduated. So that's a big mountain to climb. But what I will say is that, you know, I started with one small storage facility, and then it just snowballed after that. It
Yeah.
really does. And Peter will tell you, and it just happens very quickly. Once you get the first deal under your belt, it really does move along pretty quickly. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I recall that this first storage you bought, it was just a very obscure property that you're able to, get used to and turn around, and you did. And then you bought another medium-sized property, and then this one we just went over here. So yeah, just gradual steps. And I'll always say there's no problem, and it's absolutely okay to start small. And that's what you did, right? And now
that's right. That's right.
you're a graduate. Yeah. The best time to invest in real estate is always 5 years ago. The next best time is today. Let us mentor you so you can get started investing right now. Click the top corner. So, Dean, where would you be today if you didn't do this deal?
I'd be looking for more properties to build that to hit that $1 million mark. I'd definitely be looking for more properties, but I've got a lot of cash flow going now on the properties we have. So, there were to be more opportunities. I feel like there's plenty of stuff going around in this market, and I would just be hitting the streets again with strategies that you have for us. So, but yeah, just
Yeah,
mean more work,
yeah,
and a
yeah.
little bit more time.
Yep, yep. So Dean, what our business model is we helped you buy property, and then you share profits with us, right? And then you've shared enough to where now you graduated. So in your opinion, what's the best thing about sharing profits with us? What do you get out of it?
Well, in my mind, what you get out of it is the profit's not necessarily coming out of your pocket. It's the profit is generated by either income that's being generated from that property through tenant rents. So that's the most refreshing thing, and that is, I guess, I go back to that mind shift that you have to have. That it makes a big difference how you look at investing and life in general. I think.
Mm,
Um, so for me, you know, that's a pretty rewarding thing that you can go make an investment. And yes, you got that profit share you have to tackle, but it incrementally will be reduced once you get the snowball of investments going.
yeah, yeah. And in between that, you were able to meet our whole team. We helped you with the accounting, with the management, legal side, everything, right? So that's
Yeah.
all included in sharing profits with us. Yeah. So, it's full circle for us. Our business model made in such a
Yeah.
way that if you don't make money, we don't either. So we have to make money.
That's right.
All right. So, Dean, now that this deal is all done and you have your other properties, how has your life changed now?
Well, my life is a lot less stressful these days. My previous career was 5, 6 days a week, and long days. Tough. It was a tough business, and it was very stressful for me, and it took a toll on my body and mentally and
Mm,
physically. And so now I look back and go, I look at what I do day to day now and go, oh my gosh, why was I not doing this 20 years ago?
Yeah.
It's that big of a shift for me. And so it just gives me, the freedom to be more selective about what I do, be more selective about what I'm investing in, and it gives me the freedom to spend my time with my family. And my wife has started a new career, and it's enabled us to, for her to pursue what she wants to do too. So um, it's been great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Dean, uh, any final words of wisdom for anyone out there thinking about, joining our program and just, doing what you did? Any words of wisdom for those considering?
um, yeah, again, I go back to, if you're like me, I'm in my early 50s. Made a major career change. Um, you really, if you're exploring real estate investing, you really need uh, mentorship. If you don't have business experience um, or that sort of thing, it's very important to have some sort of mentorship to guide you through this process, because there's so many pitfalls. You can listen to a lot of people on the internet and they make it sound very easy and simple, but if they're not there day to day helping you through the process, you can make some pretty catastrophic errors that could cost you a decade of your life potentially. So I would definitely recommend mentorship. It's a mindset. I think I've said this today also. It's a mindset. It's a mind shift. You need to have what they describe as a growth mindset, where you've got to be thinking differently about money and how you can put it to work for you.
Mm,
And I think that's something important to take on. And there's a lot of that out there on the internet, that and that's how I shifted my mindset. And Peter and his coaching has definitely shifted the way I look at things. And then finally, this is definitely a people business. As I mentioned, I happened to walk next door and meet someone who I had known for 15 years. And if I hadn't have built that relationship over that 15-year period, then I would not have been able to um, probably purchase that property. It would have most likely gone on the market, and then I would have had to compete for it. But instead, you know, it I got a telephone call 6 months later saying, "Hey, we're ready to sell, and we want to sell to you."
yeah.
So, the same thing goes for, relationships with tenants, property managers, contractors, just anyone that you have on your team. You've got to be good at dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not, then have someone on your team that is good at it, because it does make a difference, and it's something you have to develop over time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those relationships develop over time, but they make your life so much easier. So
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Well said, Dean. Well said. All right. So, Dean, thank you again for joining us. Your story is incredible. I'm sure everyone out there will be inspired by you just sharing everything today. So, I just want to say thank you again. It was a pleasure working with you, and let's go on to the next deal.
great. Thank you, Peter. This has been fantastic. And best of luck to the rest of your students, and, you know, stay focused. You
Yeah,
can get it
there you
done.
go. There you go. All right. And remember, the best time to have bought real estate is always 5 years ago. The next best time is today. I'm Peter Harris. Thank you for watching.